Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I see issue with that. And again, hey.
You're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Tuesday matinee edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, of course.
Hello.
We got a great crowd in here to start things off. 477, now up to 484 in the YouTube chat. 829. How do you like that? In the Rumble chat, left arm up.
Yeah. Damn, look at the Rumble people.
Well, we are third from the top on the editor picks homepage today, so I think that's why. So I think we got a lot of new Rumblers filing in. So shout out to Rumble for helping us pack the house tonight. Appreciate you all very much. Thank you all very, very much for being here. We got a lot to get to today. We had a good time on Hardlands this morning, so shout out to our boy Kit Cabello for having us on. That was fun. It had been a while since we were on with Kit. We hadn't been on Kit's show in quite some time, I don't think. He's been on our show a few times in the past couple months.
Man, gonna be seeing the man in person soon enough.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. We didn't have time to get into the malicious accusations about Russell's choice of pizza. We didn't have time to to clear up some of those smears.
One of his questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we had fun nonetheless.
Look, man, if one person deserved to get the good pizza, it was Tusker.
That's right.
So she got the good pizza. We showed the video.
That's right. She did get it.
Although it's kind of wasted on her because she had no complaints about that pizza. She thought it was great anyway.
Yes. Yep.
Like Arkansas, you know.
I think of pizza, Anthony Bourdain.
They throw some ketchup on Wonder Bread with some American cheese down there.
Well, yeah, that passes for pizza in much of the country. No, they asked Anthony Bourdain once because it's the craft beer craze now, and they said, what are your thoughts on beer? Thinking maybe is he like a beer snob or something like that? He says, I like cold beer. Like that's it. Like even though like I love beer, I'm into the craft beer thing. I live in one of the best places in the country for that kind of shit because upstate New York and Vermont make some of the best craft beers in the world for my money. But that doesn't mean like after the show, after a long hard day of podcasting on a 90-degree day, an ice cold cheap beer that'll hit the spot just fine. Like doesn't mean I don't appreciate the good beer, but I'll drink anything. Pizza, I'm the same way. Like yeah, I appreciate the really good pizza, but I'm not a snob. Give you a slice from anywhere, I'll eat it. And I thought the John stuff was pretty good.
Well, sure.
Yeah, it was serviceable.
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't, but I mean, that wasn't good pizza.
No, I mean, you're trying to be.
If I were really trying to show off pizza, not give people food between shows very quickly that I know will actually be here when it needs to be, yeah, that would not have been my choice.
Right. That's true. No, Russell was trying to be a good host and do something extra special for the people. But.
Because we're here for the people.
That's right. That's right. We are here for the people. So thank you guys, everybody, very much for being here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button over on Rumble. We have a full show planned for today. It's Tuesday, June 18th. This past Sunday was Father's Day. And, major figures from both major parties made a point to wish people a happy Father's Day in style. So first, let's take a look at...
Why don't we just take care of the YouTube side?
That's right. Just happened there. Just got it. Just
if anybody knows Bruce Dickinson, reach out, man, because I'm going to the concert in November.
That's right.
I think at this point, they owe us a promotional appearance.
Yeah. We'll be in order. We'll be nice. We'll pre-record it and everything. So
yeah, we have a new policy here, folks.
New policy.
You've seen the last of the live interviews. We are pre-scheduling and pre-taping interviews from now on because it's not a problem until it is.
Yeah,
all it takes is one asshole, and now it ruined it for everybody. Now all the interviews will be pre-taped.
All right. Well, it is Tuesday, June 18th. This past Sunday was Father's Day, and prominent political figures from both major parties took to social media to wish everyone a happy Father's Day. So first, let's take a look at Donald Trump's Father's Day wishes for America. Happy Father's Day to all, including the radical left degenerates that are rapidly bringing the United States of America into third world nation status with their many attempts at trying to influence our sacred court system into breaking to their very sick and dangerous will. We need strength and loyalty to our country and its wonderful Constitution. Everything will be on full display come November 5th, 2024, the most important day in the history of our country. Make America great again. And remember, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone. This is he has a history of doing this, of saying, have a great holiday, everyone, including these people who I hate. He's been doing this for a long time, even dating back to the years before he ran for office. I mean, those of you guys who have been on social media for a while will recognize this tweet. This is one of the all-time bangers. This is considered like one of the greatest tweets of all time, probably top 10 tweets of all time. This was from September 11th, 2013, on the anniversary of the attack. I would like to extend my best wishes to all, even the haters and losers, on this special date, September 11th. That is one for the ages.
And that's before he even entered politics.
That's before he even entered politics. That's before Twitter upped their character limit. So you had to be extra good. You had to get it in like 140 characters. Now it's 280, and if you're verified, it's unlimited. This was like everybody's playing by the same rules. You got 140 characters to give it your best shot. And yeah, that's as great a tweet as has ever been fired.
That is a certain kind of genius.
Yes. On this special date, September 11th. I like how he sandwiched the haters and losers in there. Like, I would like to extend my best wishes to all on this special date, September 11th, but he sandwiches in there even the haters and the losers on this special date.
He was, even then, his peculiar genius was to be the master of the literary form of the 140 character Twitter.
Exactly. Well, they said this. I forget who said it, but somebody made a very good point.
They're going to compile them as Trump sonnets.
Yeah, exactly. Well, somebody made a really good point. I forget who and on what channel, because this was when Trump was running in 2016. But they said, if you notice, candidates who master the new medium do very well. Like FDR mastered radio, and he did very well. JFK looked great on TV, and so he did very well, just as everyone was getting TV. Obama was great at the internet. They organized that campaign online, just as the internet was becoming commonplace for every household. And Trump mastered social media at the time when social media caught on. And that was a very good point. Like, you could have seen his talent ahead of time. Like, the guy was a master of the new social media. And this forecast that talent. I mean, that is just one of the best tweets ever written. No question. No question.
I mean, not to be one of those cultural critics, but you can see a steady downward slope in the information being conveyed in each of those mediums. Marshall McLuhan, like, the medium is the message. Right. Radio, okay, well, you need to really write a compelling speech. You needed to really say something. You need to really have the intelligence to craft sentences. Famously, you talk about Kennedy, people who heard the debates between him and Nixon thought Nixon won if they heard it on the radio.
Right.
And they thought Kennedy won if they saw it on TV.
That's right.
By the time you get into Obama, you're really just getting to internet marketing, hope and change. Right. And now it's just, you fuckers, I hope you die on a 737 MAX, but have a great 4th of July.
Exactly.
139 characters. Boom.
Yeah, that's mastering the new medium. Exactly. That's the craft involved now. But yeah, no doubt one of the best tweets ever. One of the worst and most short-lived tweets in the history of politics, though, went to Chuck Schumer, who recently deleted this, but he tweets out on Father's Day.
Everything about this is ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Our family has lived in an apartment building for all our years, but my daughter
they had a little 1-bedroom in Yonkers.
Yeah, right.
He slept on the convertible.
Yeah. Yeah, but my daughter and her wife just bought a house with a backyard, and for the first time, we're having a barbecue with hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Father's Day heaven. Well,
Oh,
You can
okay.
tell
And-
it's his
and-
first time because,
that-
as you can see there, the cheese is being placed on top of a raw beef patty, which A, is not safe, but B, it doesn't matter that it's not safe because that cheese is going to be black by the time the burger is good enough to eat because you're putting the cheese on a raw hamburger patty. So he really proving himself the city slicker that he claims to be. Back in my day, we used to grill hamburgers on the radiator. You know, so I'm not used to these grills.
We would get a wire hanger. We'd put two together. We'd stick it on top. Everything about this is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh, first of all, like Chuck Schumer lacks for fucking outdoor space.
Right. Like he doesn't have a patio.
You're telling me, you don't have a house in the country? Really? Chuck Schumer is really confined in his options to an apartment. I wish I could grill, but I just, we can't afford it this year to go to a campsite, maybe next year. And the idea that Chuck Schumer, as the photo clearly indicates, is the kind of guy who really would find it heavenly to roll up his sleeves and cook up some meat on a grill. Yeah. You seem like that kind of guy, Chuck, that would be heaven to you to be in front of a grill. Like everything about that is just so fucking phony.
Yeah.
Like, did you really think people were going to buy this? Yeah, Schumer, man. He's just like you and me. Puts his pants on one leg at a time, that fella.
Yeah, and it's clear that they decided at the last minute, hey, why don't we put a cheese on one of them for the photo op? Because they just put the cheese on because the cheese is still perfectly square. It's on one patty. It's not on all of them, right? Maybe they knew you weren't supposed to put it on raw, but they thought, hey, it's going to look weird if we don't put cheese on the burger. People are going to call us woke if we don't put cheese on the burger.
Yeah. I mean, people are saying
they're going to think these are veggie burgers.
Is
These are
the grill
vegan
even
burgers.
on?
Is the grill even on? Is it even lit? Yeah, it's true. It may not even be lit. The hot dogs are done already. Yeah, as you can see, they got the grill marks.
Yeah, right. I mean, it looks to me like they just posed this.
Yeah,
like,
maybe they weren't even having
I don't even
burgers.
think he's cooking anything.
Maybe they just had the hot dogs ready. Hey, let's throw some burgers on the grill and take a picture. Yeah, this was since deleted. So this did not stand the test of time on social media. This he took down. But happy Father's Day from the elder statesman of our country.
Well, it tells you something about who would be around a guy like Chuck Schumer that no one noticed that this picture would look stupid.
Yeah, this is kind of dumb.
That nobody said that. Like if we tried to tweet that out, somebody would catch it.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody in his orbit caught it.
Yeah, looks great. A square block of cheese on a raw burger patty with a grill that doesn't even look like it's on.
Nobody there said, no, that's going to look stupid because you put that on at the end. Right. Nobody said that.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff indeed. Eric Rousseau says, I was raised on Grandma's Bisquick hot dog and cheese pizza. You elitist pizza snobs. Thank you, Eric Rousseau. Wow, that sounds terrible.
That sounds pretty fucking bad.
That sounds awful.
Nah, you go to these parts of the country where it's like bowling alley pizza is about as good as it gets.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of bowling, I took my kids bowling yesterday. First time we ever went bowling. My dad came up, my mom and dad came up, and we had 3 generations of Weissmen at the bowling alley hanging out. It was a nice belated Father's Day. I couldn't have a proper Father's Day because I was busy preparing for a guest on Father's Day. So I forfeited my Father's Day. So we had to do Father's Day a day late.
You ghosted the kids.
Yeah, I ghosted the kids on Father's Day because
Did you tell them you lost track of time?
Yeah. Sorry, I lost track of time Father's Day, so
Daddy,
we'll have to reschedule it for tomorrow.
You?
That's right.
I lost track of time. I'm in the car now.
That's right.
Can we do Father's Day now?
I just got in the car now. Let's do it now. Okay, I'll be back in a half hour. Let's do it.
I can play with you in 5 minutes.
Jesse says, were we good bowlers? No, although I won. I came back. I came back strong. I made an adjustment mid-game, and I rolled 2 strikes in a row and then a spare. So I came back because the first few frames, it was gutter ball after gutter ball. I hadn't bowled in like 10 years, so I had to make a wrist adjustment halfway through, and I picked up speed at the end. But no, the kids did well. One of my guys got a strike. One of my guys got a spare. They were very happy. They were very proud of themselves. Right. So, yeah, they did pretty good. It was a fun time. His Highness. Sorry, go ahead.
Dr. Nick, your skull is in the mail.
Boom.
Skull is in the mail. It's supposed to be there by Thursday, I think.
Excellent. Look at that. Awesome.
Made it happen.
His Highness says, "Hey, Double D boys, I meant to send this on Sunday because I'm a professional, but I had a prior commitment that ran long, then I lost track of time. Can I send it at 3 p.m., maybe 4, maybe 8? Yeah, whatever. Thank you. Super chats and Rumble rants are super helpful. They help keep the show afloat, so thank you guys all for your contributions. Jake is not here, but his app is working, and so we are able to field these Rumble rants, so send them if you got them. My real name, on time again, early, in fact. Beautiful. Good job.
Thank you.
His Highness.
That.
We need a happy birthday drop, actually. Guess who has their 45th birthday?
Yeah.
Yes. Send THC and the bustiest of redheads. Well, thank you for letting us know that, His Highness, and happy birthday to you. We have to get a birthday sound.
It's kind of up there now.
What's that?
Raquel Welch is kind of up there now.
That's right. But we'll make a birthday sound drop for you, and then we'll drop that on the next show, or maybe the show after. Whenever we keep track of time, in enough fashion. Alrighty, we'll go to Amadeus Keaton over the line. Yes. Yeah. It's funny because, when my kids wanted to roll, they have like the little dinosaur tails so they don't have to like roll it with the holes. They can push it down. And you have to make sure you don't put that one over the line because otherwise the computer will pick that up. All right. Why don't we move on now to segment number 2. All right. So Jerry Seinfeld has been heckled quite a bit, protested quite a bit by ceasefire protesters all around the country and all around the world. And the thing about heckling comedians is once you heckle them enough, once you protest them enough, especially a guy like Seinfeld, who's been a pro, who's been doing it for so long, is they're going to start incorporating it into the show. Like, they're going to start writing material. Like, pretty soon, Seinfeld's whole act is going to be anti-Palestine protester shtick. Like, he's going to just incorporate this into the act. So this time, Jerry was prepared with these epic clapbacks at the ceasefire protesters.
Yes. We have a genius, ladies and gentlemen. He solved the Middle East. He solved this. It's the Jewish comedians. That's what we have to get.
It's not the Jewish comedians. It's the Jewish comedians whose wives team up with billionaires to hire goons to violently attack peaceful college protesters, as what happened on UCLA. Bill Ackman and Jessica Seinfeld were major donors to the group that sent those guys in to attack the peaceful protesters. So it's not Jewish comedians. Right?
Why are you attacking my wife? She's legal.
Yeah, right, exactly. I married an old one. You can never be happy.
They're the ones doing everything. Yeah, go ahead, keep going. They're going to start punching you in about 3 seconds. So
that's very Trumpian. That's very Trump-like. They're going to start punching you. Yeah.
That's very Trumpy to throw out that kind of threat. And I can tell you, as somebody who's been in these kinds of crowds, that is always a fear if you do things like this.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You never know if someone's going to take a shot at you.
No.
It's a very charged situation. You got
especially
a lot of people who want to be a fucking hero. You don't know.
This is a big room. This is not like a small room. It's a big room.
And these Zionists are sick. They're the scum of the earth.
Yeah. That lady took a swing at the guy the other day. They were talking to her about, she was calling them not a real Jew, and the guy says, "Lady, I'm Jewish," and she swings at him.
No. If somebody on the other side said anything like that, that would be fodder for MSNBC talking heads for days.
Yep.
He incited violence in his audience.
Right. If one of the, like, if a Zionist heckled Macklemore at a concert and Macklemore said, "The guards are going to come drag you out of here, beat you up," yeah, that would be a huge story.
Of course it would.
A huge story.
Of course it would. They're not going to say anything about this.
Yep.
Your genius out so we can all learn from you. It's a comedy show, you moron. Get out of here.
Yeah. You can say it's a comedy show when you're not going to Israel and posing with the IDF.
Right, with machine guns.
When you're not sitting down with Zionist propagandist extraordinaire Barry Weiss and getting teary in an interview about Zionism and Israel and Gaza. Then you can say it's a comedy show. I promise you, nobody is going to show up at Gallagher's show and start screaming about Palestine. Right. You've inserted yourself into this conversation.
Larry David, he's made plenty of public appearances because the Curb finale, he's made plenty of public appearances. I don't know what his politics are on this. I really have no idea. He doesn't want anybody to know, so no one bothers him,
Right.
Like, exactly. If you inject yourself into it, this is going to happen.
Right. It's not because you're a Jewish comedian.
Right.
It's because you are an extremely, not just an outspoken Zionist, an extremely outspoken Zionist. You've made yourself a spokesperson for a genocide.
Yes.
People are going to have feelings about that. Sorry.
Exactly. Yes. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, this is so important. Imagine if this guy actually did solve the Yes, so you're really influencing everyone here. We're all on your side now because you have made your point so well and in the right venue. You come to the right place for a political conversation.
Well, you're there. That's the point.
You're there.
That
makes it the right place.
And look at the size of that room, man. Look at the size of that. Look at the size. This is like an arena show, I mean, this is a huge venue. This is Australia, right? Yeah. So maybe he doesn't get over there that often, but wow. I mean, what a huge room. What a huge room.
And in reality, I mean, you would probably know better than I would, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this because I would have noticed it. He hasn't done any significant work that anyone cared about since Seinfeld.
No, not really. Just the stand-ups, but that's it.
Which he hasn't done a lot of either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a prolific touring act, but nothing that made a splash. Like there wasn't a big special that he had that made a splash, like The Closer or something some big thing that made an impact. I mean, he's a consummate comic. He's on the road constantly, but he hasn't done anything that made him
that
a
anyone cares about.
Figure for a while. Yeah, for 25 years pretty much.
Right. So you're a washed up comedian. You just did a Pop-Tart movie that even the people who like you didn't like. Why'd you shut up? Why don't you shut up? You want people to stop bothering you at your concerts? Shut up. Stop talking about things that, who's going to solve it? The asshole whose wife contributes to beat up protesters.
Right, exactly.
So you're not going to solve it, so shut up. You're saying they shouldn't comment on it. Well, maybe you shouldn't comment on it. How about that?
He admits, he all but admits he doesn't really know about it.
You're literally saying, well, you shouldn't bother Jewish comedians. What are they going to do? So shut up then.
Right. But even in his interviews about this subject, this is what is very offensive about him. Is that he says, well, I'm very connected to the struggle of being Jewish, and so I feel I should stick up for Israel. That is the exact wrong message to send. That, well, because I'm Jewish, I just kind of have to support Israel. No, you don't, asshole. Right. We're Jewish. We don't support. That is the exact wrong thing to say. I don't really follow this, but since I'm Jewish, I guess I'll back the, Zionist government. That makes the exact wrong connection in people's mind. That is the exact connection that we try to prevent from happening.
Yeah, well, when you're backing Israel, what you're really backing is a movement that has its origins in Christian Zionism, really.
Yeah.
Christian Zionists. Literally, we talk about this with the evangelicals as if it's a modern development or it's a bonus to Israel. No, that was the original motive for Israel. That was why you had British figures backing the idea of Israel, because you had people in the Anglican Church who wanted the Jews there for Jesus bait. Yes. That was there from the beginning. This is not like a new Jerry Falwell thing. That was you had that kind of Zionism before you really had Jewish Zionism. It was Christian Zionism, and it also had the added benefit of getting the Jews out of Europe.
Yeah.
You're backing a movement that has its roots in Christian anti-Semitism and millennialism.
Yes, and even secularism. Netanyahu grew up in a secular household. I'm going to get into very, very briefly a little bit of his bio in a later segment, but he didn't grow up a religious Jew. He grew up in a secular household. He went to MIT. I mean, so the idea that, well, because I'm Jewish, I have to that's it. That's the end. I mean, that is just such a lazy and harmful way of thinking about it, and to project that out when you have a platform like Jerry Seinfeld. It's just a very, very harmful thing to say. And he says it without really thinking about it very much, which makes it even worse because you're just lazy.
Well, the majority of Jews didn't even support Zionism until after the founding of the State of Israel.
Right.
Once it was there, and of course the impact of the Holocaust, the Reformed movement, the Reformed Jewish movement, for the uninitiated, very quickly, you have basically Orthodox, conservative, and Reformed. So that's basically mild, spicy, and super hot Judaism. The Reformed movement, I believe, is the largest synagogue or constellation of synagogues. They did not change their stance on being openly opposed to the State of Israel, I think, until the 90s.
Interesting.
So the idea that, Jews, Zionism, no, that's decades and decades and decades of propaganda from Western media, partly through the manipulation of the Israeli state, that has made so many Jews think those things are synonymous. There was centuries-long resistance to the idea of making Judaism and Zionism one.
Yep, and he's doing the exact opposite. Abiding, WAPO management, nobody's reading your stuff. WAPO writer, switch Kamala out for Hillary. Did a WAPO writer suggest that? That's interesting. Because, we were almost going to cover a story, but until there's more meat on the bones, it's just one Republican talking. But a Republican congresswoman, I forget her name, she made news because she went on the Fox News and said that, rumor has it on Capitol Hill that the Democrats are prepping to make a switch. And
they can say anything.
They can say that, right? They can try and stir up shit. So until there's more to go on, I feel like, maybe we should not cover that. But people have written speculative pieces about, and we even speculated this ourselves when they announced that the first debate was going to be June 27th, which, folks, just 9 days away from debate number one. That is kind of an audition for Biden going into the fall. Like, if he totally tanks that debate, if he just totally embarrasses himself and can't get through it, then they could make a switch, and that's the benefit of having it that soon.
They give him the good yayo for those things. So, we keep thinking he's not going to be able to do it, and whatever they fucking shoot him up with, he keeps managing to get by. Like, the bar is set so low, that's the advantage to everyone knowing that your brains are leaking out your ears. If you're able to coherently communicate, people call it a triumph.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as we'll cover a little bit later in the show, these I won't say meltdowns, but these displays of just general decline, be it mental or even physical, just in the way he moves, are becoming so common now. Like, it used to be, this happened every couple months. Then it happened every month. Then once every couple weeks. Now, every single time he appears on camera, it's an issue. Every single time. Because as you age exponentially. Like, like those years between 88 and 90 are not like the years between 48 and 50. Like, as you get older, the years get longer in terms of the toll they take on you. Yeah.
He's basically the Boeing of politicians. First it was one crash every now and then it's a door coming out. Now every week something's falling off the plane when it takes off.
You remind me of the Thomas Friedman says you're like the 737 MAX.
Yeah, it's like there's parts falling off here every time they walk around.
Exactly. Michael Castillo, isn't Chucky Jewish? I mean, Chuck Schumer. Yes, he is. You can't mix the blood of the calf with the milk of the mother.
If you're kosher.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
so maybe that's why they decided.
most are not. But you make a good point, because for a guy who literally contemptuously gave a speech dismissing the views of people who don't believe in the Talmud, it's pretty funny for a guy to not be kosher if you're going to talk that kind of shit.
I was grilling that one up for Mike Johnson. We invited him over in a gesture of bipartisanship, and he requested a nice slice of American cheese on his burger.
That was for,
little did he know I would put it on when it's raw and give him E. coli. Yeah.
RFK stopped by, and
Yeah.
the Catholics they like it a little pink.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Yes. The Catholics like it pink. They're a little picky. They don't like overcooked meat. Claire Daly and Mick Wallace are what AOC and Bernie threatened to be. Yes, good point, Patrick Donahue. It's well put. Indeed.
Well, we see what they did to her already.
Yep. Oh, how many Palestinians are in those hot dogs? Ooh, dark humor. Pitch black humor there from
I think we found a fill-in host.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right. Let's go to another gathering. We just did Jerry Seinfeld's comedy show. The Tony Awards were this Sunday. Who knew? As you can see, half my books that I display here are theater books. I got the Folger Shakespeare up here. I got a bunch of other theater books back here. I used to care about that to an extent, just because I like to read new plays. So I used to pay it. Like, I would never watch the Tonys, but I would pay attention. Hey, what are the best plays out this year? This year, I didn't even pay enough mind to know that they were going on. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, because as we will see, I do still follow some theater people on social media. I didn't even see them post about the Tonys. That's usually how I find out it's happening.
Yeah.
I didn't see them say anything about it before or after.
Yeah, we didn't really hear much about it, except for the fact that Hillary Clinton was a surprise hit at the Tonys. Hillary Clinton greeted with ovation at the Tony Awards. Former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton received a standing ovation Sunday night when she introduced a musical number from Suffs at Broadway's annual Tony Awards. Suffs refers to Suffragettes. That is a musical which she is credited as executive producer on, so that's why she was there. I've stood on a lot of stages.
That basically means you gave some money.
Yeah, you gave some money, right? Exactly. Yeah. To have your name in the playbill. I have stood on a lot of stages, but this is very special. Clinton told the surprised audience at Lincoln Center's David H. Koch Theater. This is the Koch. This is the Koch brothers. These are the Koch brothers. They have the theater. That's fitting. In New York. Then added, "I know a little bit about how hard it is to make change." She just endorsed the AIPAC guy.
All right, from what I know, David H. Koch, he's not one of the Statler and Waldorf Kochs. There's like another Koch brother who's a big philanthropist in the arts and is not really that involved in the family business.
Yeah, he's got a thing at the Met too, right? He's got a big either a wing or something like that.
And supposedly he's like closeted.
Oh, interesting. I think he has a fountain at the Met. That's what I think it is. Clinton was identified as one of the producers of Suffs, a musical written by Shana Taub that tells the story of Alice Paul, played by Taub, and other suffragists. I guess they don't call them suffragettes. I guess that's sexist now. They're suffragists. They used to call them suffragettes because they're women, but now it's suffragists. Maybe, I don't know. Well, some people frown upon actress now. They say, well, they're a female actor. They're not an actress. They're an actor who's a female. So maybe that's
I've always used those interchangeably.
Yeah, me too. I never really paid attention.
Sometimes I'll call an actress an actor, but what's wrong with describing people as what they are? And they called themselves that.
Yeah. I use them interchangeably. Sometimes I will say actor. I don't like make a point.
Yeah,
to
sometimes
do either one.
I will. Right. Yeah, exactly. It depends.
Yeah. Clinton referred to them as American originals, fighting for the right to vote during Woodrow Wilson's presidency. The former Secretary of State and U.S. Senator from New York also said the show's message was timely in this presidential election year. I'm sure she feels that way. We need to be reminded about how important it is to vote, Clinton said. Last month, Clinton appeared on MSNBC's Morning Joe with Taub to discuss the production. In this election year, we need a lot of joy, to be honest, she said. of the show. Clinton is not the only famous activist associated with the musical. Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai, I never knew how to really say her last name, she's the famous one, is also listed as a producer on the show, and longtime activist Gloria Steinem took part in April in a post-show discussion about Paul's legacy. So we had to be very careful with how we presented this for copyright reasons, but we have a short montage of the response to Hillary Clinton's surprise appearance at the Tony Awards. She was not expected, and they were very excited.
Thank you, and now I
Get weepy-eyed at Hillary Clinton. All right,
Fucking douchebags.
what lowlifes? I mean, just what embarrassment. So, okay, we can spend a little more time here. She is. Here, these guys, look at the beaming eyes. Look at this. I mean, you're getting weepy-eyed at Hillary Clinton. You're an artist. You're a theater person. Look at this. Oh, my God. The reception, unbelievable.
Well, if you look at the comment thread on the posting on X, Mia Farrow's in there. If only.
If only. Once again, folks, this is why I keep my shelf right here. Here's the library. This is the city skyline at 2:48 a.m. on election night. This is New York City. The moment the election was called for Trump, you see the Empire State Building in red. This is why I keep this book around. Cheers me up. Then you got this. You got the inside the Javits Center.
came, we saw, he died.
This is where it comes from, folks.
What a humanitarian.
Yeah. I should have a picture of the New York City skyline in the apartment when a friend comes over. Oh, that's a great picture of New York City. Yeah, this is actually the moment the race was called for Donald Trump. That's what this photo represents here. It's the Empire State Building in red. The moment Hillary Clinton lost officially.
Yeah, Joe Biden, he went on stage and said Donald Trump would put black people back in chains. But Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, with their campaign in Libya, literally put black people back in chains. They literally did it.
Yep.
But
Open
here they are.
That's
here they
literally
are.
true.
All these people who all social justice warriors. I promise you, they all put the Black Lives Matter thing in their bio, and they all put the Ukraine flags in their bio, and there's not a one of them in that whole fucking room that doesn't have a rainbow flag in their social media profile during June. Most of them probably the rest of the year. They don't give a shit. Here's a woman who women are much more affected by the minimum wage than men are. Here's somebody who said, no, 15's too much, 12. Here's somebody who, when she was on the board of Walmart, actively fought to resist wage increases for Walmart workers. So you care so much about fucking women, why don't you boo her off the stage?
Yeah.
What a betrayal. What a traitor to women. What a phony. What a fake. But they would never, ever call her out that way, and it's only gotten worse over time.
So that leads us into some stuff that you have prepared here.
Okay, so I'm gonna I blurred out the names to protect the guilty, because certainly none of these people are innocent.
Yeah, this story is kind of close to our hearts because Russ and I, as most of you know by now, are former men of the stage ourselves, and so a lot of our peers, if not and some of our peers may even be in that room, but if they don't, most of our peers aspired to be in that room so that they could give that ovation.
If they're not in that room, they aspire to be in that room, and that it's a chicken and the egg thing. Most of them are from these suburban elite backgrounds where they would have these kinds of politics anyway. But certainly because all of the movers and shakers in the industry have these politics, if you don't have those politics, you're going to have to pretend you do. You're certainly not going to be able to speak out and say that you don't. Now, I preface that by saying most of them would have these politics anyway, because I don't want you to have the impression that the people in that room are just playing along. Maybe 1%. 99% of them, because the people who really don't think that way, if you're a creative, you're an artist, that kind of requires you to be very open. If you can't be open like that and hate everyone around you, right? Look at me. I could afford to produce. I don't, because I can't be around these fucking people. I can't. Like, right. I can't work with people I hate to that extent. So why would I want to spend all day with people I can't stand? Look, right. I was never crazy about them. And now, like, it's crossed over to a whole other level. So I want to give you an idea, because I still, have a lot of connections on social media to the theater world. This is the social media of a very famous playwright. One of the greatest playwrights of our generation, of Gen X, really. He's a Gen Xer.
A couple of his pieces are on this bookshelf here. I won't say who it is, because this is his social media feed, but a couple of his pieces are here.
This is the kind of politics that he expresses. And you're not talking about, that's what's so interesting about it. You're not talking about someone who's just untalented. This is a very talented person. It's quite remarkable to me that you could have artistic talent and maintain such a shallow politics. Here's another one from the same person. This is it. We're in a country with very complicated, complex problems that are falling apart. These people will not say a word about class, about wages. They never say anything about that. Israel, Gaza. This particular person very early on pulled the liberal, it's tragic on both sides thing, got so much blowback from Zionists and pro-Palestine people, never commented on it again, never mentioned it, because, hey, man, that could cost you a lot of work. That could cost you a lot of work. It's very dangerous. This guy makes his living writing, does work for TV and film, right? That's really the bread and butter. Theater's really not where the money is. That work will dry up real quick if you take a pro-Palestine stance. So shut the fuck up about things like this. Like, you don't have the courage to speak out on the most important issues of your time, then do what Larry David does. Shut the fuck up. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. This is another artist I know. Thought this was, so you can see a running theme here. Trump, 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 Trump. And I'm sure a lot of you are saying this is like my lib relatives. Exactly. But I bet your lib relatives are not fucking supposed to be artists. They're not supposed to be paradigm shaping figures in the culture whose job it is to point out where society is going wrong. It is not their job to go along with the most facile, empty-headed narratives of your historical moment. If that's the case, why should people put up with you? I mean, artists they're terrible. They're terrible. They're fucking they're sponges on society. All the worst things you've heard about artists is true. So the thing that justifies you. Some of the greatest artists in history, we know they were fucking terrible people. Beethoven, Dostoevsky, Picasso. The only reason people put up with you assholes is because you're doing something important that society needs, and it's always been understood, well, you have to give them a certain amount of latitude. Right? It's part of the creative temperament, so we're going to put up with the time they fucked a donkey in the lobby of the Marriott, okay? Because they're creating work that's important to society. If this is what you're doing, why should people put up with you? Here's another one. So now you get into the gay stuff. All right. This is, and hey, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you can see so clearly how much the gay pride and Pride Month functions as a substitute for a politics and a principle. It's a pretend politics. And just to close it out, this one really drove me crazy. I mentioned it on the show the other night on the Rumble side of the Q&A. All right, so this is really what pride is to me. First pride salad of the year with strawberries from my yard. All right, so is this about pride, or is this about you want to talk about the fact that you have strawberries in your yard and you want to try to get people to give a shit? Yeah. Right? Like, that's what pride is for most people. And I'm not saying it is that for queer people, but the queer people for whom it's not about that are the ones who will speak out about pinkwashing, which most of them won't.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No,
So-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So that is very typical of what if you are connected to people in the arts community, that's what you're going to see. And again, a lot of you, I'm sure, say, well, I see that all the time. That's my uncle. That's my aunt. Yes, that's horrible. That's horrible. At that point, how can you function as an artist in society? What are you contributing? What are you doing? And hey, they've always recruited out of the theater for Hollywood, and you could almost, if you're a theater person, very often in the past you could tell when they hired a playwright because there would be a sharpness to the dialogue that you wouldn't see from somebody usually who came up through film and TV. You could almost tell if you're a theater person, oh yeah, man, that's a playwright, or playwright wrote this. Not anymore, because they all suck. Now they're all just fucking empty-headed MSNBC morons, and this is why that entire industry is collapsing. Like, you know, the theater scene functioned as kind of a recruitment ground for Hollywood, and look who they have to recruit from. Like, there is no outside voice to say enough of this.
Right. Yeah. And as you said, and as we could see from just, you know, watching that video and the reaction of the room, there's just such a shallowness, right? We were talking a bit offline, you know, has there been a significant work of theater that wasn't a musical, you know, in the last 20 years? No, not really.
The last,
really.
I would say
not in a political sense, anyway. There have been some great plays, but none that really, like, okay, this really gets to the heart of what's going on in the world now.
No. And even when you look at the last plays that did that, it was before liberalism had become completely divorced from all purpose that it once might have served in society. So the last two plays I can remember that had genuine cultural cachet and impact were both identity politics plays. There were Angels in America. That was about the history of the gay experience in America. And at the time, it was a very groundbreaking play. It was important at the time. I'm not knocking Angels in America. The vagina monologues. Yeah, man, it was groundbreaking. Honestly, until the vagina monologue, you might be too young to remember this. I'm not sure. Yeah, there was a stigma around that word. Like, people almost could not say that word. Like, it was it was like the most awkward word in the English language to pronounce. It's just, you know. And yes, so I feel like it did serve a function, even though obviously it wasn't about class, it wasn't about economics, it wasn't about any of those things. At that time, you had enough of that kind of lingering repression or closed-mindedness for it to be worth challenging that through that medium. But they never moved into any other space. Like that was, you could say that was the high watermark of this kind of liberally identity politics oriented theater having a purpose.
Right.
And because if you were to get into economics, if you were to get into class, if you were to attack the establishment, now you're making real enemies. You're making powerful enemies. You're making enemies with the kind of people who might say something in the producer, contributor, donor's ear at the fundraiser about, oh yeah, that playwright who wrote that, you're not hiring them, are you? Right? So they never moved beyond that. And as society evolved, so that a play like the Vagina Monologues would be meaningless today if you did it. Angels in America, I mean, quality theater is quality theater, but it's not needed in the way that it is now. But they never moved into those other areas, and society has liberalized. So now it's like people trying to argue with an enemy that doesn't exist so that they have to create that enemy. That's why they're constantly trolling conservatives by pushing an envelope that, even if you're not a conservative, what? We need drag queens in banana hammocks in front of toddlers? Like, why are they doing that? because they need it to justify their lack of a politics. There has to be an enemy. Otherwise, what does it mean for you? I'm standing up for this. All right, so you have to keep pushing it to a place where conservatives are going to snap back.
Right. Exactly. Looks like I haven't been able to confirm this 100%, but it does seem as though Noam Chomsky has died. We know that he was on his way out, but it does seem people in the chat have said that, and I checked.
Yeah, they said he
Twitter.
couldn't speak, right?
Yeah. Well, he had I think he had a stroke like recently and was recovering, and so it was seen as a long time coming. But I'll have to check on that afterwards, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. When we get some confirmation and details. Derek P, thanks for the $4.99. Appreciate that. Thank you, Derek. Too bad audience member didn't do a Will Smith. Yeah. Thank you, P. Walker. Let's see here. Okay, that's an interesting one. Eric Husso, is titty effing kosher? Getting beef and dairy mixed together. Thank you for that. Good question. Most depraved audience on YouTube.
I was just gonna say it.
Yeah,
that I will grant. I will grant the Vanguard guys.
Yeah, they're right about that. Folks, let's take a quick game break for a word from our sponsors. You can support this program by going to patreon.com/DoDissidents and becoming a member for as little as $5 a month. You get your name up on lights here. You get access to our live show streams, which were on June 9th. Both of them are still up. You also get call-in access to our Q&As and access to bonus Patreon streams, bonus member supporter streams. We are going to have to schedule our June streams within the next couple days and let you guys know when those are happening, but those will be happening in due time, obviously. Patreon.com/DoDissidents. DoDissidents.substack.com is also an option. You can go there for $5 a month, or you can join our locals, DoDissidents.locals.com. If you're on Rumble now, you can hit that join button underneath the video player and sign up on our locals. That gives you access to all the perks I just mentioned. Perks are the same across all three platforms. We are trying to raise some money to make our Dearborn trip possible. So if you want to help us do that, you can go to givesendgo.com/DoDissidents and contribute to our special projects fund, which makes the documentaries possible, which made the trip to New Hampshire possible, the trip to London to cover the Julian Assange Day X hearings possible. We are trying to get one more big project in before Election Day. Obviously, Chicago, we are heading out there because of the funding that you guys have given us here, and we are also, I got some, did you just get a public safety alert? Something about emergency management, New York? I don't know what the hell that is.
I did not.
Okay. But we are going to be in Chicago
that's how
for
it's
the
going to
DNC.
end. One day you're going to say that, and all of a sudden there's just going to be a flash of light.
Yeah, hey, did you get this weird message? Something's going on? Boom. Exactly, yeah. That's how the world's going to end now, is people just ignoring a notification on their phone. You know, everybody, the whole world just gets a phone notification. Fuck it. Let's see what's on Grubhub. Boom, done. That's it. Yeah, that's
fucking Amber Alerts.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But yes, Russell's going to be in Chicago for the DNC, and then if we can get to Dearborn, Michigan in the fall, we will. So givesendgo.com/DoDissidents is where you go and contribute to that if you'd like to help us out on the special project fronts. All right, let's take a couple more Rumble rants here before we move on with the show. Come on, Russ. Comedians in Cars was a magnum opus. That's right. He did that. He did that.
I thought of that, but that's not creative work. It's
you
got
like
your friends to sit for interviews.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like just like a talk show,
right?
Nonfiction.
That doesn't take talent. Look at us.
Yeah, it's all right. Anybody can do that. Ebony55, thanks for the $5. Jews haven't been taught this much since Christ hung from the cross. Yes, we had somebody gave us a Christ is King T-shirt at the live show.
They did. We gotta wear that on Sunday.
Yeah, that'll be fun. By difficult, if Candace Owens, if we ever have Candace Owens on the show, we'll wear that for her. She'll like that. By difficult change, Hillary meant, can you break this $100 million bill I got in Haiti? Yes, thank you, my real name. Appreciate that. Thanks for the $2 super sticker. Appreciate that. 118 Debbie. Sparky, Debbie Wasserman Schultz boys didn't completely carry out the contract. Ooh, I don't know if I could read all of that, but thank you, Sparky, for the $10. I don't know. Are we allowed to read that? We are. We do have Debbie Wasserman Schultz coming up in the next segment there.
Debbie Wasserman Schmuck.
We could just say that was all safe and effective, right? I think that does it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seth Rich's murder was safe and effective.
Exactly. Official story
For
is what it is.
For people who needed it to be effective, it was very effective.
Yes. My great-grandmother took me to see Mousetrap in London. It was a good play. Yes, that was the same trip where I shared a train with Victor Wong. And now because you've read this, you're all 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon. There you go. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate that.
I had to cancel a show because of Kevin Bacon, so I'm only 1 degree.
Oh yeah,
away
what
from
happened?
Kevin Bacon. I was doing a show at the Cutting Room, and I was doing a month-long run, and Kevin Bacon wanted the room for his birthday.
Oh,
so
and
we had to cancel that show. Yeah.
Oh wow, what a bastard!
He has a reputation for being a prick.
Oh,
I've known more than one person who met Kevin Bacon, and they all had bad things to say.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. He doesn't give off those kind of vibes, but you never know. Highly disappointed.
He's an asshole.
Mike, thanks for the $30. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Highly disappointed at Claire Daly's loss. Yes. Curious what led to constituents to abandon. Would be willing to contribute to a fund for an investigative trip for Russell to get a feel of what's happening on the ground. Russell can go do some detective work. We were trying to get in touch with her to come on the show, actually. Maya, one of our fans, made a great effort to try and make that happen, but ultimately they said they're going to lay low for a while, which is understandable coming out of that. But maybe we can make it happen in a few weeks, or a month or so. We will stay on it. We will not give up on it. Tonys are an example of why showbiz is dying out. Thank you, Cool Blue. And
I mean, nobody cared about it. That does say something. Nobody seems to care. I don't even know who won because I haven't seen anybody post about it.
Yeah, no, it was not a thing. It was not a thing. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it. With inflation, especially in the grocery store, $15 an hour isn't much anymore, even in flyover country. No, there was a big.
She thought it was too much, though.
Yeah, no, she thought it was too much. There was a big graph, which I think we were considering doing something on this. We might in the coming days. There was a big graph where it showed all 50 states and the amount of money it took, in terms of a yearly salary to live comfortably in each of the 50 states. And even in North Dakota, it was $81,000 a year. So $15 an hour is $60,000 a year. $12 an hour is what? 500, it's 20, 25, $26,000 a year, something like that. So it's just a joke.
When we did that New York City segment in the live show, and I did the math because they said what the average rent would be in New York City, and because I got into this building 17 years ago, we have rent stabilization, so I'm paying the rent I was paying in the 90s. The normal rent is $2,000 more than what I'm paying. So I looked at my expenses and I was like, yeah, what they say it should cost to live in New York. They said it was $5,700 a month. I was like, yeah, that is what my expenses would be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And yes, I caught this too, but thank you, Bill. I caught this as soon as I said it. 15 an hour is $30K a year, not 50. What was I talking about? 25 an hour is 50. $15 an hour is $30,000 a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, that just shows you that's not even North Dakota, $81,000. Places you would think would be, the least expensive. You just need a ton of money to even live. So thank you for that. Let's see here. Hillary Clinton at the Tony Awards, not a dry seat in the House. Thank you, Kelly Messiah. Appreciate that. Green Bob says the whole season of this year's Capitol Stage Theater in Sacramento deals with class issues. Well, that's good to know. Good to know some theaters are still sticking with it. That's interesting. But thank you for the donation. And
that's cool.
Tipping us off.
That's
I'll
cool.
take a look at that at their
and
season.
That's a professional level theater. It's a
I've
Broadway class theater.
It could be one of the touring class places. One of those type houses. All right. Why don't we go into segment Number 4. All right. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz recently appeared on the Eva Braun reenactment podcast here, and she tweeted out, "I'll carry images of sexual violence from 10/7 with me the rest of my life. Unfortunately, the House GOP voted to defund programs to combat gender-based violence and assist survivors." It's just such a perverse formulation. Thanks, Dana Bash, for covering Sheryl Sandberg and Vice President. I guess that's in reference to Kamala Harris. She didn't tweet at her. She tweeted at VP. I don't know why. For confronting 10/7 deniers and revisionists. So on top of the video, which we're going to watch, which is ridiculous in of itself, it's just a ridiculous formulation.
Right.
You know, tying
Well,
this to programs at home to combat gender-based violence. That's why she got such a ratio there. 107 likes to 791 replies as of 4:30 yesterday. Yeah.
Well, this is what they do. Everything that we want you to get behind, we're going to create a formulation where that thing is in opposition to Republicans and right-wingers and conservatives and Trump voters and MAGA people. That's all they have. They, if they wanted to sell you on hedge funds, they would tell you MAGA's against hedge funds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's right wing to be against hedge funds, right?
Right. That's it. They're trying to make it anti-right wing to be pro-Israel.
Exactly. All right. So here's the video.
Which is ridiculous because if you look at the most virulent Zionists, they're right wing.
They're all. Yeah, absolutely. So here's the video that is embedded in this tweet. It's not that long. We'll take a look.
There was sexual and gender-based violence that occurred on October 7th, that Hamas uses it as a weapon of war, and that any organization, either international or domestic, that denies it is essentially allowing the commission of acts of violence again and again. There can't be an exception for Jewish victims. There can't be an exception for Israelis. The idea that it's Me Too unless you're a Jew is unacceptable. And, when you have Republicans in Congress, like we did last week, defund the UN Population Fund, which provides resources all over the world to combat sexual violence against women across the globe, you can see where Republican priorities are compared to President Biden and Vice President Harris, who are using the administration's platform to lead in making sure that these crimes are not only not denied, but that there are consequences for them.
Okay. Before I take them off the screen, I just to get this out of my system, this does look like the before and after models for like a Ozempic side effects PSA. Like, Debbie Wasserman Schultz looks like Dana Bash gone wrong. Like if Dana Bash caught some weird illness somewhere, and was struggling with it for years, she would end up looking like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's how
I mean,
they look like the before and after version of each other.
These two are like at a lab in Wuhan. They were experimenting with making anti-Semitism more virulent,
yeah, right.
And it escaped.
Yeah, exactly. That is quite something. Of course, on a more serious note, and this was pointed out here from Zay Squirrel, there is no footage of sexual violence, rape from October 7th, as confirmed by the Israeli regime itself to Haaretz and the UN. Yes, that's not outside sources saying something that Israel then says, blood libel. This is from straight from the horse's mouth. You made that up and keep regurgitating it on mainstream media because no one will call you out on your propaganda lies.
Okay, hang on. So you didn't use the clip where she claimed to have seen the video?
Oh, that was the clip that was on her tweet. But she claims to have seen the video in the conversation.
She claims to have seen video of women being raped while their breasts are cut off. She literally said that is what she saw.
Yeah. And there's no one has seen that. Just like Biden talked about the beheaded babies. He said he saw footage. Turns out he did not see footage.
Well,
right?
we saw this from the beginning. these kinds of absolutely over-the-top portrayals of the savages. There's a long history of that. The savage African, the savage Indian, right? This description of crimes that just belie comprehension that they commit. They're just using that trope with Palestinians. Who would do that? Who would do that? Nobody's done that since Genghis Khan. All right, like the idea that these people would come out and do what she's describing, it has a long history among colonizers of using that kind of imagery to justify their colonization of those people.
Yes, and understand where the burden of proof lies here, because we're not saying no one was the victim of sexual violence on October 7th. That's not the claim they're making. We can't deny that anyone was raped that day. What we can say there is no evidence for is what she is claiming to have seen evidence of, which is systematic mass rape. Her account is plainly untrue, as this document here will show when we get to the next piece, but also account after account after account of systemic sexual violence as a weapon of war has been debunked time and again. That's what Breonna got in trouble for calling out, right? When the hostage's sister came on, the New York Times had to, did they issue a formal retraction of that? No, but they had to do a clarification, right? So every time that narrative has been pushed, it has had to be pulled back. All right, so here's the document that he quotes. That's a little small. Can you full screen that and read at least the highlighted parts? Because I can't see that on my end.
The mission team, specifically the forensic pathologist and the digital analyst, reviewed over 5,000 photos, around 50 hours, and several audio files of footage of the attacks. In the medico-legal assessment of available photos and videos, no tangible indications of rape could be identified. While the mission team reviewed extensive digital material depicting a range of egregious violations, no digital evidence specifically depicting acts of sexual violence was found in open sources. Beyond this, from inquiries put to 3 bodies in the defense establishment by Haaretz, it emerges that the intelligence material collected by the police and the intelligence bodies, including footage from terrorist body cameras, does not contain visual documentation of any acts of rape themselves.
Right. So the claim that she saw it and to invoke that on TV, again, there's just, it is not to say none of it took place, but when your accusation is that this was a weapon of war, you're saying this was systematic and broad-based, and there has never been any evidence for that.
No, and she literally described, I don't want to get us a warning or anything, but I told you what she said. And that's exactly, she said she literally saw video of that.
Yeah.
Just straight out lying. And this is what Zionists do. They live in a world of the ends justify the means because they're fighting Nazis and they're fighting against the Holocaust. So there's, as Max calls them, Ziontologists. They act just like Scientologists. Everyone is fair game. Anything in the defense of Israel, for anyone who doesn't know, L. Ron Hubbard had a policy called fair game. That if you're doing it in defense of Scientology or attacking enemies of Scientology, there are essentially no limits. You can lie, you can cheat, you can steal, you can sabotage, you can frame somebody. No limit on enemies of Scientology. That is exactly the mentality of these propagandists like Deborah Wasserman Schultz and Dana Bash. They don't care if Dana Bash doesn't know this isn't true. She knows that's not true.
Yeah.
Did she say anything?
No, nothing. Nuance Bro. Thanks, Nuance Bro, for this. Living up to your name here. The UN found no images specifically depicting sexual violence. Which ones are you referring to? Because if you have evidence that investigators haven't seen yet, then it would be important to make them aware of it so they can amend their findings. I'm not saying sexual violence didn't happen, but based on the reports, there's no direct digital or forensic evidence. It seems. Yes. Thanks, Nuance Bro. And then this one is just funny.
That's
just a funny one.
I will not deny every time I see Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I feel like the victim of gender-based violence.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. No, it is something how you can go on and just repeatedly make claims that have just been refuted over and over again. I mean, not a single story in the press has survived the slightest scrutiny, or even an outlet like the Times is having to walk back what it initially put out. And obviously Max and Aaron at the Gray Zone have put out some great stuff, and there's probably some of their writers there who have written some pieces whose names I'm not recalling now, but they have looked into just how these mistakes are made.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, they're made the same way. When the New York Times, they hired the beat reporter to cover the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2020. They just found the most biased person they could find, and so okay, you're the beat reporter on this piece, on this series of pieces, so that every piece you put out in that series has the kind of perspective that you want it to have. Right. And same thing here. But she got pretty universally called out for that. And the other thing I just have to say, sorry, go ahead. I had one more point to make, but I'll wait.
Well, and this tells you, Democrats will come out, the guardrails, the norms. This is somebody who was fired as the DNC chair for deception.
Right.
Why does she still occupy a position of prominence in your party? If you care so much about rules, norms, guardrails, you have a proven liar. You have somebody who demonstrated that they're willing to abuse a position of trust and prominence. It's all nonsense.
Yeah, and the other thing I just want to add to this, and this is the point I make whenever this litigation of what exactly happened to what extent on October 7th comes up, because you saw people like, Dean Phillips and Chris Cuomo talk about this 47-minute film that they saw of all this horrific violence. And again, without litigating that, without denying that, I would simply say the invocation of that video or of that evidence, if such evidence exists.
Which, I'm sorry, if it really did, we'd have it.
Well, I'm just saying.
They are so... there might be a deceptively edited video that doesn't really show what they claim it shows. I believe that exists.
What do you mean?
And I believe there is a 47-minute video of some kind. I think it's probably heavily manipulated, and I think they put a lot of suppositions into the way that it's narrated and framed, because such a video would have evidence of what they're claiming in here, right? But it doesn't. But all these people come away thinking that it does. And the fact that they haven't released it, there's no fucking way, with how hard they are trying to push this narrative, that they would not have released this to the public by now to win the propaganda war. They're losing it.
But my point is that even if everything that you say is in there, that does not justify the collective punishment of people who did not do it. That's why they're pushing it so hard. It is pure emotional manipulation. They're just trying to make you angrier about October 7th so that you'll be less angry about Israel's response, right? Well, we have now over 40,000 people have been killed in Gaza, and we're really upset about that. So the way they're trying to make you less upset about that is to make you more upset about October 7th. It is an emotionally manipulative tactic. Whatever atrocities were committed on October 7th, and by the way, those are being investigated by the ICC, who is seeking arrest warrants against both Hamas and Netanyahu. So there is an investigation underway on that. Whatever happens does not justify killing people who didn't fucking do it. And that's what Israel has been doing. And so all of this litigation of that is really besides the point. It's besides the point in terms of what is the appropriate response. Sure. You do not have the right to kill over 15,000 children because something horrible was done to you by a very small group of people as a percentage of the Gazan population, 90% of whom have been displaced, over half of whom are starving now, 40,000 plus of whom are already dead. Like, nothing justifies that, period. No matter what you say about October 7th, nothing justifies what I just said. Nothing possibly could.
Well, this is why you're seeing over the last couple weeks they've shifted gears to there are no innocent civilians.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the new thing. Yeah.
Right. The children, Hamas.
Right. Exactly. That's the new thing now. All right, let's go to Nocturnal Human. Thankfully, Chomsky was vaccinated. Made it to 95. I have to is it confirmed? I mean, it must be.
I mean, I didn't see it in my news feed.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in the news feed, but Jacobin published their tribute essay. I saw that's the first thing that comes up in the news feed. They were ready. They were ready to milk that.
Oh yeah.
Within a few minutes, they had their things in it. And the thing is, because I clicked on that to see if they actually put in their essay that he had died, and it turns out on the Jacobin tribute to Noam Chomsky, the headline is "We remember Noam Chomsky. Let's celebrate Noam Chomsky." But it doesn't say at the beginning of the article that he died. It seems.
I don't think he died.
It seems like this article was prepared for when he died. And then, okay, well, as soon as he dies, let's drop this so that we're first.
Fuck it. What if he hangs on for another couple weeks? Let's just drop it now.
Yeah, maybe they ran with a story that was not verified yet because we haven't heard verification yet. Sparky, thanks for the $10. Dated an actress decades ago. She was smart, but at parties I'd meet for fellow actors and actresses. They were nice enough, but were mostly vacuous and painfully so. Yep. Well, you call them actresses. That's very retro, Sparky. That's very 20th century, right? How many plays and musicals over the last 10 or 20 years were made into motion pictures? Less than 5?
Well, they're usually jukebox musicals like Jersey Boys.
Yeah.
They're not originals. They're not new musicals. I just went to see
August Osage County. They made
Kimberly
that
Akimbo was very good. I went to see that.
Yeah, you saw that.
That was good.
Yep. August Osage County. They made that into a movie.
Right.
What else do I have here? That was a great play. Bug was a great play. That was a great play, and that was politically relevant to a certain extent.
To some extent. I mean, it was more psychological.
Yeah, it was more like conspiracy theory, but it was quite good. That was quite good. And then Yankee Tavern, but that never really went anywhere. That was just like an off-Broadway thing, right? Was that even on Broadway, Yankee Tavern? Maybe it was. That was by Stephen Dietz. That was a 9/11 inside job piece about a 9/11 conspiracy guy ranting in a bar. But it was pretty good. Black Spock, thanks for the $1.49. Appreciate that. All right, let's see here. We'll go on to some more Rumble rants here. Noam Chomsky. Okay, yeah. This is what Blank Slate says. Noam Chomsky has not been confirmed dead by any reputable news outlet. This is simply a Jacobin article published preemptively. He is recovering from stroke in Brazil. Send well wishes and read a book. There we go. All right. Yeah. I said, that's why I said it seems he's died because a lot of, the tweet has like 250,000 responses and no community note yet, but maybe that's just because it's new. But yeah, I didn't feel that confident. Maybe they saw the tweet and they published their piece. Man, that really is that's kind of a sleaze move. Be like, oh, he died. All right, we're gonna run it. Let's now, run it first. Run
Pull
it so
the
we're
trigger.
first. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a sleaze move over there. The Snuggler 83, Debbie Beagleface Schultz. Thank you, appreciate that. She does kind of have a little bit of a beagle face. Let's see. Have you heard about the dwarf that won Nathan's hot dog eating contest, Noam Chomsky? Or rest in peace, Norm McDonald. Was that one of his jokes?
Did they do the hot dog eating contest for the year yet? Or don't they do it the day of the Mermaid Parade or no?
I don't know. Yeah, if we can't get Norm to do the Mermaid Parade, I think Norm's on vacation. Norm is on vacation.
Yeah, we got an auto reply from his email.
I'm swimming in women in the Caribbean. I have bitches lined up to see me at the Dominican Republic resort. I'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Norm in Cabo, baby.
Norm takes Cabo, baby. Yes, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Guess who was on Time to Their Breaking Points interview? Yeah, I saw. Somebody tweeted at us that she was on there.
I saw that.
Yeah. What are you going to do? One day. Let's see. Jeremy Strong, Emmy winner for Succession, thanks Cool Blue, now has a Tony as well. I know you both like that former HBO series, so do I. I never watched it. Russell was a fan. Russell was a big fan. Yeah.
It was very good.
Yeah. But even Russell mentioned, like you mentioned, that like that did very well among critics and the awards, but like you don't know that many people who watched it, right?
No. That was the thing with Succession. It was one of those shows. We haven't even used that sound drop in a while. I thought we were going to get to use it because I had so many self-identified Marxists get mad at me last week for the Lithuania story. I was all ready to use it, but none of them super chatted.
I love you, but you are not serious people.
That's right. He rearranged the soundboard too.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, I had it ready to go.
Everything. That's right. That's right. All right, folks. We will move on here. So here's some news that has been coming for a while. You could say this was a bit of a long time coming, but Benjamin Netanyahu has finally disbanded his war cabinet. The Israeli prime minister is now expected to hold consultations about the Gaza war with a small group of ministers. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved the 6-member war cabinet, an Israeli official said Monday, in a widely expected move that came after one of his key rivals, the centrist former General Benny Gantz, quit the emergency governments. The Prime Minister informed ministers that he will hold sensitive consultations in a smaller forum dubbed the Kitchen Cabinet, the official said. Netanyahu had faced demands from ultra-nationalist ministers in his coalition, including Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, to be included in the war cabinet, a move which would have intensified strains with international partners, including the United States. The forum was formed after Gantz joined Netanyahu in a national unity government at the start of the war after Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel. It also included Gantz's partner Gadi Eisenkot and Aryeh Deri, head of the religious party Shas, as observers. Gantz and Eisenkot both left the government last week over what they said was Netanyahu's failure to form a strategy for the war, now in its 8th month. I think a lot of this is domestic politics and jockeying for potential upcoming elections, but I also feel that Netanyahu is feeling a bit stronger than he did a little while ago, said Paul Salem, the vice president for international engagement at the Washington-based Middle East Institute think tank. It's interesting that he says that Netanyahu feels a little stronger than he did before, because I kind of said that when the two quote-unquote moderates quit, this might embolden Netanyahu rather than further isolate him, because now he can consolidate the less ultra-nationalist support, which is just fucking ridiculous. So I just want to give you a few notes here. So obviously, Netanyahu's grandfather was Nathan Milikowski. That's why some people still call Benjamin Netanyahu Benjamin Milikowski. He was a Zionist activist born in 1879. And then Netanyahu was born in Israel in 1949, so right after the creation of Israel, one of the OGs. He served in the IDF, obviously. He turned 18 in 1967. Then he started his ambassadorship to the UN in 1984. He served 3 stints as the prime minister of Israel. This is not the ultra-nationalist of the state. There are bigger nationalists than him. There's a more nationalist, more right-wing party than Netanyahu. Well, yes, apparently, which is why I thought maybe the fact that the moderates are bailing will embolden him further rather than isolate him further, because that consolidates a certain level of support that may not have been there before. And that seems to be what's happening now. We have a little bit more to read, but you have anything before we go on?
I was going to comment on what's coming up, so keep going.
Oh, okay, cool. Netanyahu, who was widely blamed for security failures that allowed Hamas's October 7th to take place, was making political hay from his spat with President Joe Biden over elements of Israel's conduct during the war, and making out like he's standing up for what the Israelis want and refusing to succumb to pressure, Salem said. That has helped him politically, he added. With recent polling showing Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party making gains on Gantz's National Unity Party, Salem said that the former Army general and defense minister in the last government had faced pressure from his own side to act. The Israeli military warned that intensified cross-border fire from the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group could trigger serious escalation in the conflict across its northern border. And now those quote-unquote moderates who were concerned about this broadening into a wider war, well, they're now out of the emergency government. Hezbollah's increasing aggression is bringing us to the brink of what could be a wider escalation, one that could have devastating consequences for Lebanon and the entire region, Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said in a video statement. In English, around 60,000 people have been evacuated from more than 40 communities in northern Israel, according to the International Organization for Migration. On the Lebanese side, the fighting has displaced around 74,500 people. Hezbollah, which has been exchanging fire with the Israeli military in parallel with the war with Hamas in Gaza, last week launched the largest volleys of rockets and drones in 8 months. However, Sunday saw a marked drop in Hezbollah fire, while the Israeli military said it had carried out several airstrikes against the group in southern Lebanon. Israel will take the necessary measures to protect its civilians until security along our border with Lebanon is restored, Hagari said. Hezbollah had said it will not halt fire unless Israel stops its offensive in Gaza. All right, that is it.
Okay, so anyone who wants to tell you that Netanyahu is an aberration, look at what they're saying in this article. One, he's more moderate. He's more moderate than other people who are actually in the Israeli fucking government. There are people in the Israeli government who think Netanyahu is a dove, that he's going too easy on the Gazans. We almost did an article also. Netanyahu is a man who's mad that the military decided to have pauses in the fighting to allow aid through. He's upset that they made that decision. There are people who are to the right of that he is not putting in his cabinet. Number two, look, they're protesting Netanyahu. According to this, the Likud party is gaining. His party is gaining, not losing. The Israeli people are not en masse waking up to this horror and, oh, my God, we need to get Netanyahu out. No, he's gaining in popularity.
And the pressure on him is coming from the right, not from the left. That's why I thought it might be good for him that the centrists resign, because it gets that flank more on his side, because now the alternative is a party that's further right. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we did that article a few months ago that showed these so-called liberal Israelis who had been protesting Netanyahu all turned into civil defense leagues helping support the IDF. They all turned their attention to supporting the war effort and decided to set all that aside for the duration of the war and to support the country. And they realized in the end they had been thinking about going to Paris maybe, but this is their home. That's your liberal Israeli. That's a liberal Israeli.
Yep. And that's why dissolving this war cabinet, as I predicted, I don't say it to toot my own horn, but I saw this as a good thing for him. Obviously not a good thing for the world, but it struck me as an opportunity for him to solve a problem that has been brewing for quite some time, because the anti-Netanyahu momentum in Israel has not been building from the left. It's been building from the right.
Right.
It's been building from the right.
Because he's not going far enough for these fucking maniacs.
This fucking guy's grandfather was a Zionist activist at the turn of the 20th century. The guy's been in Israeli politics for 40 years. The guy served 3 stints as PM. Like, this guy is not nationalist enough for you? And at this point, like, it must just be like certain people have personality traits, and this is probably very common. It must be very common amongst people in any position of power, whether it's a politician or even a guy like Fauci, right? if you took all of Fauci's claims at face value, let's say he was really trying his best to be honest about the masks and the this and the that and the gain of function, and even if you take everything he says as face value and you believe fully that he's just this guy doing the best job he can, right? It doesn't occur to a guy like that, hey, maybe I'm not the guy for this moment. Maybe I should just step aside because I'm just too controversial. I'm going to be too divisive a figure. Let someone else handle this because of my conflicts, because of my associations with what people widely understand to be gain of function research, right? Like, maybe it just doesn't have to be me. But people in that position never think that. That's the last thought on their mind. Maybe I'm not the guy to be at the center of this. Is that what Netanyahu's like? Like, you haven't been around long enough. You got to hold on to power. Why? Don't forget, his position was being threatened over the summer. There were protests in the streets about his Supreme Court power play and all this stuff. Like, does it just not occur to a person like that? Maybe I need to just get out of the way. That must be it. There must be some psychological thing amongst people, right? Bill Clinton, right? I can't just step out. I got to start a foundation now. I always have to be the person. Right.
That's all of a piece.
Yeah.
Personalities like that are the ones who are driven to seek these prominent, powerful positions. Very often people have said only the ones who don't seek power are really qualified to hold it. Right. Now I would say that's naive because power does corrupt. And when you take people who are not accustomed to holding power and you give them a taste of it, they have not developed the skill sets you need to manage it. And they very often become monsters extraordinarily quickly because they've never developed those kinds of muscles. But I think when you look at somebody like Netanyahu, he believes he is the man for the moment, and he believes history is going to vindicate him because in the end, their purpose is to ethnically cleanse from the river to the sea and make it all part of greater Israel. That is the intention. The way he sees it is, well, the right-wingers are going to provoke the U.S. too much. I'm the man for this moment. I'm going to hold them at bay, and I'm going to do what Israel has been doing for 76 years. Gradually displace these people and take their land, whilst telling the U.S. it's complicated. You know, we're doing everything we can, and when all else fails, pull the Holocaust card and to make specious claims of sexual assault that we have no evidence for.
Exactly, and that's a card that the Ben Gavirs of the country can play because they're not in the position of having to do a dance with Joe Biden. They just get to be as rhetorically hardline as they want, which animates a certain base. And Netanyahu's feeling is, well, they're going to push the United States too far. Now, in reality, they probably wouldn't. They'd probably go in and do exactly what Netanyahu's doing because Netanyahu is as right-wing and as nationalist in practice as you really could be.
Sure.
Right? But from a political standpoint, the so-called far rights in Israel doesn't have to worry about international relations in the same way because they don't have the power he does.
They're not in power.
He's not the point. They're not the point person. Netanyahu is. Right.
So in the end, he would never step down because he figures, well, if you look at what the intentions are, I'm the best person to fulfill them. And hey, in that context, can you really say he's wrong?
No, exactly.
You need somebody who's enough of a fucking monster to do this.
Yep.
Who has enough common sense not to say so.
Exactly. That's very well put. Yes, that's exactly right. Here we go. Here, Debbie's face, or did her parents lose a bet to God? Thanks, Amadeus. Appreciate that. Lose a bet to God. Russell Disney acolyte rant. Oh, I think we're gonna do a Thursday, Corey. I think Russell's gonna have something for Thursday. That's the plan, right?
I am working up a whole shit post.
Yeah,
that's why we haven't. I would have covered it if we were just doing it as a story. We would have done it today.
He wants to do something a little more formal.
Because I want to do. I'm not all that interested in the acolyte by itself. I think it's interesting in the context of what happened to this beloved cultural myth. Because it's not just the acolyte. People want to forget this now. Fucking George Lucas destroyed Star Wars long before they started putting lesbian witches in Star Wars. It's interesting because a lot of people who I guess were children when the Phantom Menace came out are fond of it, but if you grew up on real Star Wars, you've never seen an audience more upset than the audience for Phantom Menace was when it came out. People were fucking horrified because you had heard rumors that it was bad, but you didn't want to believe them. And we didn't have, I mean, we had the internet, but it was not nearly as developed as it is now.
That was like 2001, right?
99.
Oh, 99. Wow.
So it was in its infancy. It wasn't like you had these reviews from people who had seen that. You heard rumors that it was terrible. And I am telling you, man, the moment Jar Jar Binks walked on screen, up until then, people were still kind of holding hope that it would get better. As soon as you could feel the whole audience just deflate and realize the rumors were true. This is as bad as we heard it was.
It's all real. I mean, I remember watching it and being disappointed because they had re-released the first 3 movies like in the mid to late 90s because I remember going to see them as a kid and experiencing it that way. And then, that one, even I was only, 12 when that came out? Yeah, seemed not good. Believe me, not good. It was decades ago. Actress was still a valid term. There you go, Sparky. You're forgiven. You're off the hook. Congratulations. The real just in time. Wikipedia says Noam died today, but they are not reputable. That's interesting. I didn't know Bhaskar Sankara edited Wikipedia now. That's a funny sketch. The Jacobin fakes the death of Noam Chomsky so they could be the first to publish the tribute essay and get the clicks off of it.
He's oh no, Variety's
the Variety put out?
No. It's not Noam Chomsky, it's Marvin Chomsky. Who died 2 years ago.
Our Revolution just tweeted out, rest in peace. So now I'm seeing some more Twitter handles.
I just looked up Noam Chomsky dead and nothing.
Remove my Chomsky post in an abundance of caution. Peter Dow says he's not sure. All right. Well, when is Peter Dow sure of anything? I don't know. Inconclusive at this point. Inconclusive. Pablo Diablo. Thanks for the $5. Neil LaBute has some plays that were made into movies. Very good ones. Yes, very good ones. Oh, Neil LaBute's great. Here, I got this. See, now that I have my books, I can do this. The Shape of Things. That's a terrific play. I was in The Shape of Things. I played Adam. See, that's my highlighted working script from 2009.
Look at that.
Excellent play. This was made into a movie with Paul Rudd, which is really good. It's really good. You ever see that movie or read the play?
No.
It's great. It's great, and it has a great ending. It has like an M. Night Shyamalan twist ending. It's really, really good. Excellent play. Very funny, very smart, and a very, very clever finale. Allegations are projections. Look up Israel pedo map and the fact Jewish. All right, pedos are allowed to flee to Israel. That is true. Plus, sexual assault is rampant within IDF. That is true. Absolutely.
Yes, those things are true.
No lies detected.
There is no transatlantic Jew pedo tunnel though.
Right, there's no tunnels.
In spite of what you might have heard, they just take a plane there. I promise you.
Right, they fly coach. Supposedly, Miriam Adelson has offered Trump $100 million as a political campaign contribution if he promises to enable Israeli annexation of all historic Palestine post-election. I didn't hear the terms that she set, but I did hear that, yes, Adelson's wife offered him like a ton of money as a campaign contribution, yes. Wow. I didn't hear the second part. I'm sure it's true.
And he's just the scumbag to take it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He'd do it. 100 million is a beautiful donation. It's a beautiful, big, fat donation.
These people lived there before, and they're just returning to their home.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Does Netanyahu think he's the Messiah? Thank you, just in time. Appreciate that. This was funny. DWS played Jar Jar. He. There you go.
She does look a little.
She does look
Jar
a little
Jar,
bit
actually.
like. She does.
A little bit.
Yeah. And that is actually true. All right, folks. We got one more segment on the day. This is kind of a fun one. We get to analyze some video here. So as you've noticed, Joe Biden's problematic public appearances have been happening over and over again. It seems like he cannot appear in public now without showing his age. We did a piece on his appearance at the star-studded Hollywood fundraiser in which Obama basically had to guide him off the stage without waving to the audience or anything like that. And there have been several more videos surfacing over these past couple of weeks that show that this guy's really running out of steam with about 4.5 months to go until Election Day. And so Karine Jean-Pierre decided to do some damage control by going out and saying that these videos were essentially fake news.
Several recent cheap fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. That is what they're attacking.
Look what she calls it.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here.
How desperate they are, really, because they're winning in like all of the polls.
They have them right where they want them.
Yeah, exactly. So these are fake. These are fake videos.
And I just, because we're not really focusing on the press here, I just want to point out, as you would predict, NBC has really been going overtime, as has the Washington Post, the entire mainstream press, to do what they do. And it's really like North Korea when they go into this mode. It's just, yep, no, don't believe your lying eyes. And anyone who says that Joe Biden is losing his mind is it's fake. It's fake news. So here, this in NBC right now in my news feed.
Misleading GOP videos of Biden are going viral. Fact checks have trouble keeping up. Wow.
Yeah, it's all fake. It's all fake. Nothing wrong here.
Yeah, no. So, all right. So we're going to take a look at this because, we are fair here. So I want to take a look at this piece because this video came out a couple weeks ago of Joe Biden sitting in the imaginary chair, right? Because this was edited deceptively because, as you can see, he eventually does take his seat in a real chair.
Right.
That was behind him. And the way that was edited, they cut out the part where he sat down in the real chair. So what she's saying is a step further. What she's saying is not true, which is that these are deep fakes. A deep fake is when it is basically manipulated using AI, right? Where a person's face is put on another person's body or the whole thing is generated in some way where it's totally fabricated. No, some of these videos are deceptively edited. I would grant you that. And it's certainly true that like right-wing media is going to make more of an issue of something than it already is. However, such editing would not be possible if it didn't take Joe Biden, 10 seconds to sit in a chair? Like the reason they were able to make that look like he was trying to sit in an imaginary chair is because look at how slow the man is moving. Like, look at how he's functioning. He's fucking old. He's old. Just because there are some sites and some Twitter handles that are going to try and trick the audience into, thinking this is even crazier than it really is, doesn't take the reason they're able to do that is because it's looking pretty bad in reality. Yeah. Like they wouldn't be able to do that unless it took the guy forever to take his seat or the fact that he was confused as to whether or not it is time to sit down. Notice everybody else is standing, and then when it's time to sit, they sit. Nobody else is
right.
Like the fact that you're doing that is what creates the opportunity for the manipulative editing in the first place. So just because one thing is true doesn't mean the other thing isn't. They can both be true. Yes, your opposition is milking this for all they can, going sometimes to dishonest lengths. But it's also true that your candidate is falling apart for the whole world to see.
Yeah. One, common sense. Could you do this to Obama?
Right, exactly.
No, because it would be ridiculous.
Right.
People would say, what? Obama's not. He's fine.
Right.
And more to the point, they've tried repeatedly to do this with Trump, and it doesn't stick because there's just not enough of a kernel of truth in it. Right. Yeah, you can make something out of nothing, but there has to be something. There has to be something to work with. Yeah, Trump's a crazy bastard who will spend 10 minutes talking about his shark phobia in the middle of a rally.
Right.
But that's just his personality. It doesn't play as dementia. It plays as he's a fucking nutbag.
Right.
He is. Or he's charmingly, disarmingly open. Right.
Well, he told that shark story 20 years ago.
For his right. It doesn't play like, oh, he's really slipping. If you're going to litigate that, you litigate it as, should this guy be president who wants to, in the middle, go off about a shark story? And this is something I will actually agree with his fans about. That probably is one of his more humanizing and endearing qualities, that he will do something like that. Yeah, I would rather be on the boat than with the shark.
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't play to anyone like Trump. They've tried this several times to say, what about Trump? Look at what he said at his rally. And people are like, it sounds like the same crazy bastard he was 4 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
as you say, 20 years ago. So it doesn't stick. And while that might be deceptively edited, not that I'm trying to give advice to our right-wing media friends, but hey, man, you don't need to do that. Right. By doing that, you gave them that to run with. Right. And now they're muddying the waters, saying that's what it all is. He does this on his own. You don't need to do any deceptive editing. Why, you can't wait a couple minutes for him to stare off into space?
Right, exactly.
Leave it alone.
Right. So this is one more example. So this was at the G7. This was the famous parachuting incident here. So this guy lands, he flies in as a parachute, and there is an edit here, but this doesn't look deceptive. Because you could see, okay, as this guy's coming in for a landing in the center of the screen, on the left side of the screen, you see all the world leaders. And then you see the other two parachuters on the right-hand side who apparently maybe they just landed a few minutes ago or something like that. So as this guy lands, you could see the other guy there in the background. That looks like a genuine edit. But even if it's not a genuine edit...
Yeah, do you see anybody else doing what Biden is doing?
Right. Look, they're all clapping for this guy, and he's wandering off. And now Macron says, you know what? We better make him look like not so awkward. So let's follow him over here so that we look like he's sticking with the crowd.
Like, do.
Maloney's like, hey, over here, idiot.
Hey, over everyone here. Just come over where he is.
Right. They guide everyone over to him. He wanders off, looks at the other guy. Now, maybe that other parachuter just landed a few minutes ago and he's giving him a thumbs up. Maybe that's true.
But everybody's else is doing that.
Right. Everybody's focus is here. And right. He wanders
and he's
here.
The only one doing that, which is what makes it not a credible story. Like, yeah, maybe he was doing that, but why? Right. What you repeatedly see is he's out of tune with what's going on around him.
Exactly.
The social awareness is not there because he's in a state of cognitive decline.
Exactly. And now this.
Yeah.
Look at that pose.
Wow.
Look how long it takes him to do things, too. So here he is. All right, they catch up to him. Now they're like, let's surround him so that he can't move. All right, we're going to go on this side. We got people all over, so he can't just walk away.
Just, if he tries to walk away, grab him.
Yeah, grab him. And now... Oh boy, yeah, no, he looks totally with it there.
Yeah, no, that's a deep fake.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you mean fake? That's not a fake video. Like, even if I grant you, and I don't know if they're even claiming that about this video, but even if I grant you that there was some deceptive edit between, when the guy lands and here,
and if you do this. If you do what we do, you do edits like that all the time because otherwise, what you're gonna have 60 seconds of this fucking guy landing?
All right, exactly, yeah. There's
like
no
that
reason.
Looks like exactly where you would put a cut to get to the point.
Yeah. There's no reason to believe that was trick editing because, as you can see, when the guy in the first shot where the guy's landing, you see those two parachuters in the background, and you see where they're standing in relation to them.
Right.
So it seems to match pretty close.
Right.
Pretty close. Maybe they walked over to him, so the world leaders are a little closer to these other two guys than they were. But that could just be consolidating for time, because otherwise you're going to have 3 minutes of dead time.
And which, again, it's not one video.
Right.
But with that one video, maybe you'd say, what are you talking about? it's again and again and again and again. The guy's, what is he now, 82?
Over and over and over. Here he is at the opera, right? Or what was this at the opera? Falling asleep next to Maloney here. Let's kill that in case there's any copyright issue there. Yeah, there. Hey, so he's going.
That's classical music. I can't imagine.
Oh, maybe. That's true. Because it's a live performance, too. It's not like a copyrighted recording. Oh, okay. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
There's this.
Yeah, that is making America look really on top of its game, having this guy next to these vibrant young leaders.
That's right. That's right. This is the video from the fundraiser where they're saying goodbye and Obama thumbs up and then waving, all right, time to...
Yeah, well,
here we go.
We're done here, Joe. Come on, Joe.
All right.
Come on, we got ice cream. There's ice cream.
There's ice cream back there. Let's go.
Come on. Pelosi sent over a cabinet full
of $100 ice cream bars backstage.
It's that
top shelf.
It's that
some
good
top
Pelosi
shelf fudge
shit.
bars. Yeah, that good Pelosi shit backstage. He's the top of the ticket. He's the president. You let the president milk the moment. You don't grab the president unless you know, all right, this guy's just not going to leave. He's just going to space out. Let's get him out of here.
They'll be sweeping up around him in 3 hours.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Which brings us to a pretty funny meme that Russell found here and posted on his Facebook. Confuse and utterly disorient your enemy wandering on stage like a Roomba. Yes.
That is Joe Sue. That is the advice of Joe Sue. Yes, he's just baffling and confounding our geopolitical rivals with this behavior.
Yeah. And the explanation is that these are fake videos. But like I said, when you go from, what is he, 81 now? When you go from 80 to 82, your body ages a lot more dramatically than when you go from 40 to 42 or even, 60 to 62. As you get older and older, the years take more and more of a toll. Yes, there's an acceleration.
My grandfather used to say it's like a car. Once one thing goes wrong with the car, then everything starts to go wrong with the car.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. If it's the tires, then it's going to be the suspension, then it's going to be this, and exactly. Just problem after problem. And when he first ran in 2020, it was like, once every month or two, you'd have something. Wow, the corn pop thing. Wow, the record player thing. You had a handful of them over the course of like a year. Then you start seeing it once every month or so. Now you're seeing it every single time. Like, he cannot appear in front of a camera without it being apparent that he's falling apart. You're going to blame that on deceptive editing? Again, both things can be true. There can be some deceptive editing out there, which, as Russell said, is really stupid and unnecessary to do because he's giving you plenty of real material to work with on his own. But it's also true that that material that we just said is real as well. It's real as well. And which leads me to believe, look, man, I know I predicted they would swap them out. It looks now like they won't. They have this debate. There's rumors around that this debate is his big test. If he falls apart, it's getting to a point where is he going to make it through a debate with whatever cocktail they give him? Because, the State of the Union, he did well, but that was a few months ago. Things are getting progressively worse. Yes, yeah.
For him.
That's true. Without an antagonistic madman, breathing down his neck the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. The bar for Joe Biden is he seemed to understand where he was and he pronounced words in the right order. By that standard, he did well at the State of the Union. Donald Trump, I played, there's street chess players, street hustlers. And it's funny, man. They play a very aggressive style of chess. You sit down and play chess with them, really play chess with them, and they'll start trying to get into your head and psych you out, like you're boxing. You can't play at that level. You can't play at that level.
Right.
You're not. He's got to be on stage with a guy like that. He's going to be on stage with a guy who knows he's in cognitive decline and is going to use that as part of his debate tactic. Throw him off, throw him off, throw him off, throw him off. Now, are they going to replace him if he fucks that up? Maybe. I said a while ago if they didn't replace him by the end of May, they're not planning to, and I stand by that. But if that's a total disaster, maybe they'll feel like they don't have any choice at that point. Like, that's the last exit, really. Convention's the middle of August.
That's right.
They would have to at that point. But yeah, it's when you look at what the media is doing. Hey, man, people who work for Biden, of course, they're going to spin it, right? The media, it really is just like state TV. It's state TV to try to push this narrative, which I promise you, they got calls from the White House telling them to push this narrative. It's not an accident. They're all pushing the same narrative at the same time. These deep fakes, this misinformation, falling back on that again. And it really, you tell me what the difference is if you lived in a place with state TV and overt censorship from what you're seeing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that is absolutely true. And, in terms of, Biden's debate, yeah, that could be their last chance. That is the last exit off of the highway. And you're going to have Trump up there. Who knows?
Yep.
Trump should just claim he smells shit. It smells of you. What's that smell? They can't disprove that he smells something that he didn't smell. What are they going to fucking send?
He would do that.
Yeah. Then what's going to happen? What? Fucking like Wolf Blitzer is going to have to get up and go sniff Biden's ass. I don't smell. I got to say, I can report to America. I don't smell anything. I think he's lying.
I never smelled a smell like
this. I never smelled something like that. What is that smell?
In the back row, they can smell this.
They send Anderson Cooper over to sniff Joe Biden's ass to see if there's actually anything to smell or if Trump's a liar. Like, are they going to be equipped to call him on that in real time? Are they going to go
I saw a box of diapers backstage. I thought that was for the granddaughter that he ignores.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dana Bash has to go sniff Biden to confirm or deny Trump's accusation. Yeah, that would be good TV. That'd be something. If all else fails, Trump should just try pulling that card. That'd be a legendary moment.
Ever.
We'll be teaching that in 80 years. So this was the moment that Donald Trump accused Joe Biden of shitting his pants. Figuring, hey, they can't smell at home. They can't prove I don't smell something. Right, exactly. What are you going to prove? I didn't smell it? I said I smelled it.
All right, so Donald, if you're watching, we just gave you gold.
Yeah, gold. Boom. That's a perfect opportunity. Indeed. All right, we got one more short one. This is kind of related to the controversy over Joe Biden's mental faculties. But here he is mixing it up with a TikTok influencer at the White House. Is that correct, Russell? You found this one.
Yes, this was what was the guy's name? Katz. He's a TikTok influencer. And this was a White House event where they invited these ringers like Harry and Harry Sasan and all these fucking people that they think are going to give them favorable coverage. I don't think they invited Dylan Mulvaney. The Bud Light thing scared them. But they invite, this is friendly shills.
Right.
These are friendly shills from TikTok and other social media. So this guy's a TikTok influencer. And this is how Joe Biden treats a friendly.
Yeah. And he's asking him what his red line on Israel is going to be. Right.
And I know you're a typical press guy. You're grabbing me in front of this all this. And I trust you as far as I throw your phone. I have a good arm, man. Absolutely. I can throw a long way. But my point is this. Yes. I have made very clear to the Israelis.
Like, yeah, no, that's a deep fake. My point is this.
Yeah, no. And by
that should
the way,
be our sign off at the end of the show. So everyone, my point is this. Just cut to black. Yeah.
The guy's name is Jonathan Katz. And you can see on screen there his TikTok is Cats on Earth. So this is somebody that they believed was going to kiss their ass. And I don't know the guy's channel. I can't comment on it, but I can't imagine he would have gotten in the room if he did the kind of commentary that, say, we've been doing for the last 20 minutes.
Right.
And this is how he treated him.
Hey, what's that line about me shitting my pants, man?
He gave him the dog-faced pony soldier treatment.
Yep. Yeah. The threatening to a push-up contest. Yeah, that Biden came out.
I have made very clear to the Israelis what they have to do in the near term. If they don't, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Is the U.S. going to cut off
a lot?
I came because usually you tell me I have a nice suit and you didn't comment on my suit today, so I don't feel a little offended.
And no answer. So I just want to play that part again.
Okay, and if you listen closely there, so one of these other influencers says to Biden, really pitching hardballs here. You usually comment on my suit, but you didn't. So these are the kinds of people that they invited, the kinds of people who would be making banter about Biden usually liking their suit.
Right.
And this is how he talks to somebody in that room of friendlies.
Right. Yep.
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
So he says,
they have to do, what they have to do.
Sorry.
I have made very clear to the Israelis what they have to do.
Okay, so, the camera turns on sort of mid-confrontation. So he probably went up to say, what are your red lines here? When are we going to reconsider supporting Israel?
Hang on. Let's just go back to the beginning, because listen to this. So we're supposed to stop Donald Trump because he says such terrible things about the press.
Yeah.
This is a White House that respects the press. They believe in the Fourth Estate. So let's see what he thinks about the press. Listen closely.
And I know you're a typical press guy. You're grabbing me in front of all this. And I trust you as far as I throw your phone. I have a good arm, man. I'm sure you can. I can throw it a long way.
Wow, man. That is some respect for the press, for the freedom of the press, for the rough and tumble of democracy there. You're like all the others. I could throw your phone. I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw your phone, and I have a good arm.
Yeah.
Wow. We better stop Trump from getting in office because he doesn't support a free press the way these guys do.
Yeah, no, those norms are in some trouble.
And this is a room of people who are specifically invited for their shilling.
That's right. That's right. So then this guy asks, he says, so then Biden says, I've been very clear to the Israelis what they have to do. And then he says, if they don't do it, and the guy says, what's going to happen? He says, a lot. He says, are we going to withhold funding? No answer. I just want to, so yeah, we'll watch this.
And then he goes to suit guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Then the suit guy bails him out.
But my point is this. I have made very clear to the Israelis what they have to do in the near term. If they don't, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Is the U.S. going to cut off funding? I came because usually you tell me I have a nice suit and you didn't comment on my suit today, so I don't feel a little offended.
Unbelievable. So he says, I've made it very clear what's going to happen. What's going to happen? A lot. Are you going to cut off funding? No answer.
Right.
Yeah.
I came because you usually say I have a nice suit. And you didn't say anything about my suit today. That's who he goes to talk to.
Yep. Good to have one of those guys around, bail you out of a tough situation.
Yep. Deep fake in that room full of friendly reporters who were invited, or influencers invited specifically to spread pro-Biden propaganda.
Yes, hired, I believe. I mean, I don't know if those were the paid guys, but this broke. I mean, this was a year-old story at this point that they were hiring a team of paid TikTok people.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That seems like those were who were in that room.
Well, that guy's not getting in on that money.
No, he's losing a gig. He's going to be a freelancer like us pretty soon. Reminder, Barack Obama called Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg just before the South Carolina primary and told them to drop out so Dees could prop up Biden.
Oh, you don't have to remind us.
Yep, that's right. I bet those G7 leaders, says Virtuoso, thanks for the $5. Hot potato their turn to change Job's diapers behind closed doors. Thank you, Virtuoso. Debates are dangerous for our democracy. Dumbmocracy. I like that play on words, DC. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the Post published an article.
Yeah.
That the leaders anonymously said they've never seen him this bad, and it was very awkward and embarrassing.
Yeah. And now we're going to hear that's fake news. What was the other thing the Post ran with recently that they said was a hit piece? Something else. I forget what it was. But they're going to start leveling that accusation a lot. Who committed the first terrorist attacks in Israel, says the Snuggler 83. Pretty sure it was either Hamas or the Stern Group and the predecessor of the Likud party, Jabotinsky's Irgun party. Not sure. Asking for a friend. Thank you, the Snuggler. Let's see here. They need the sarin gas sniffing reporter that was in Syria to report on Biden's Schrodinger's poop at the debates. Yeah, there you go. Schrodinger's poop. That would be a funny episode title. The Wolf Sniff ratings winner for CNN. Yes, that would be a ratings winner for CNN. Cool Blue, indeed. All right, everybody. Well, that is our show for this afternoon. We thank you guys all very much for being here. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m., same time, same place. We're on all our platforms tomorrow. So we will see you guys in less than 24 hours. Thanks so much for being here once again. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. And we will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern. You can sign up for our Substack, our newsletter. That's free if you want to sign up for that. This way you get the newsletter announcements when and where we are going live. You can also become a paid member to help support this project moving forward. If you're new on Rumble, thanks for watching. Hit that follow button before you leave. Hit that subscribe button over here on YouTube, and we will see you all tomorrow. The clothes have no emperor, says Basil Beshkov. Good play, good twist on words there. Thank you, Basil. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our super chatters. Thank you to our audience on YouTube, Rumble, and X. We appreciate you all being here very much, and we will see you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. Until then, be safe and be well.
Courage.
Please clap.